Here on Big 12 Radio, brought to you, the Full-Time Fan, by Modelo, exclusively on TuneIn, streaming live on your screen on Big 12 Studios. He's Ari Timken, on social at Ari Sports, A-R-I Sports. I'm James Westling, on social at James Westling. Taman Turner is our producer, on social at
Taman T717.
_ 13 T-Chains hyphenated.
That too.
Yeah, you may have to work on that Twitter handle.
Taman T717, man. It's been the same for 15 years.
Rolls right off the tongue.
You should put your social security number there, too.
That's a good one. It's a real knee slapper.
Well, because his birthday is 7/17, so
Got it.
just giving away all of his personal
all
information.
Of his secrets. Yes.
You weren't supposed to say that. Secret code. 717.
555. Kansas State and Texas Tech this weekend will be bringing the Big 12 full circle as we celebrate the 30th season of Big 12 football in this conference. Saturday's K-State-Texas Tech game will be a rematch of the Big 12's inaugural conference game on August 31st, 1996, played in Manhattan, Kansas. K-State won the game 21-14. It's actually going to be some replays of that 1996 game right here on Big 12 Studios that'll start at 6:30 Central Time, so 7:30 Eastern, Thursday evening, tomorrow evening, on the Big 12 Conference YouTube page. That's going to be after Inside the 12 with our guys Pete Sousa and Taylor McHargue. And then you can hear right here on Big 12 Radio Kansas State and Texas Tech, present day, this Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central Time. Kansas State and Texas Tech this year, this version, it's a lot different than it was in 1996. And Joey McGuire talks about how Texas Tech is going to try and slow down the train that is Avery Johnson.
We've got to do a really good job. I sent some videos, not of him, but different videos to our defensive line and outside linebackers today about, this is going to be really important. One, to stay in your gap whenever they go quarterback run game and maintain your gap, control your gap. And then when we're rushing the passer, you've got to do it together. You've got to stay in your pass rush lanes. You can't get pushed past the quarterback. And, whenever you're running any kind of pass rush game, you got to do it together. And so I think that's the biggest part. You're trying to limit it. You're really not going to be able to stop him because he is really explosive. He's a great quarterback.
Yeah, and so I think there's a couple sides to this. Number one, there's the current game, which you just played the clip there from Joey McGuire talking about the current game. Then there's obviously this histrionics of it. I love that the Big 12, the new Big 12, if you will, is celebrating the old Big 12 in this regard, with it being the 30th anniversary of the first ever Big 12 game. In fact, this game marked the first athletic competition the Big 12 oversaw. So there was no other games before this in any other sport. It was football. And the Big 12 has really leaned in. They've rebranded their social media platforms with the old Big 12, the original Big 12 logo with the 12 in Roman numerals. And so I think that part of it's really cool, and I'm really glad the Big 12 is leaning into it. It's also really interesting, too, from the standpoint of this game was 21-3 heading into the fourth quarter. It somehow ended up 21-14.
Yeah.
I did the math on that. Texas Tech also missed 4 field goals in this game. Also, the head coach of Texas Tech, Spike Dykes, the father of Sonny Dykes. Sonny was not on staff that year. I think he was at Navarro JUCO as a coach there, or a young coach. But you had Spike Dykes, Bill Snyder. You had Byron Hanspard, who until recently held many Texas Tech rushing records.
Until last year.
Yeah, until last year. So that part of this is really cool. And then there's the more modern history, which is, as we talked about with Kellis, domination from K-State. K-State's won 12 of 13. The last win for Texas Tech in this matchup is in 2008 when a guy named Patrick Mahomes was the Texas Tech quarterback. 2015. Texas Tech has not won in Manhattan since 2008. Mm-hmm. So this has been domination by K-State. Now, as Kellis mentioned to us, this is a totally different team this year, totally different Texas Tech program, so we should probably look at it that way. But it's just interesting. K-State has dominated the series with two teams that launched the Big 12 in 1996. Now, to the clip you played from Joey McGuire and talking about this year's team, I mean, this matchup comes at a really interesting time because K-State's playing its best football right now. I'm not sure that Texas Tech is. So Texas Tech's been able to win games, not playing their best football, but they're going to need to play their best football to beat K-State. And it's been turnovers. I think K-State on the season is +9 in the turnover differential.
They are.
So, don't turn the ball over against K-State. Pretty good rule of thumb here. You see a team's +9, and they've won 3 of their last 4. And if you look at that, margin in that stretch, it's turnovers. I mean, and you look at the TCU game, it was 2 turnovers in the third and then fourth quarter that basically gave Kansas State the game where they could run the ball in the fourth quarter, run the game out. I think the Kansas game, they scored 21 points off of 4 Kansas turnovers. Don't turn the ball over, right? I mean, it's just that simple against K-State right now. The problem is it's easier said and done because the one text I did send you guys during the Kansas State game is Desmond Purnell is dominating. Mm-hmm. And he backed up his words. He said, we're going to dominate them, and he went out and did that. And he's been playing on another level right now. Desmond Purnell is taking matters into his own hands. This defense had not been playing well, and all of a sudden, Austin Romaine and Desmond Purnell especially are taking over for K-State's defense.
And they're the perfect combo. Desmond Purnell is the most athletic linebacker on this team. He's the fastest. He's the most explosive.
Super annoying.
I'm sure he is.
He was in that Kansas game.
And Austin Romaine.
They could not block him.
Yeah.
Kansas could not block Desmond Purnell. Every time I looked up, Desmond Purnell was breaking through the line.
Yeah.
Every time.
He's their best pass rusher. Then you've got Romaine, who's excellent in coverage.
Cleans it up.
High IQ, doesn't make any mistakes, always disciplined and in the right spot at the right time. I was at that 1996 game. Fun fact.
Were you?
The debut of the Big 12 Conference, K-State and Texas Tech, and it was weird because it was played on August 31st. It was a week 0 game essentially back then, or week 1. And in 1996, you didn't have marquee college football games week 0 or week 1. Week 0 didn't exist. This was week 1. And so it was really unique from that standpoint that you had a conference game that early in the season, and then not knowing anything about Texas Tech. They came in there and they competed. And Kansas State was a preseason top 10 team. Texas Tech wasn't ranked, but they had been solid in the old Southwest Conference, and they had a quarterback, Zebby Lethridge, dual threat. Fell in love with the guy right away because his name was Zebby. Just thought that was an awesome name for a quarterback. Ran the ball 21 times, by the way.
Zebby?
Zebby, yeah. Handspard was electrifying, but K-State won the game.
Did you go to a lot of K-State games growing up?
Yeah, I would say a couple a year. We didn't have season tickets, but we'd run over there and go to 1, 2, maybe 3 a year.
Do you remember anything about that game aside from the game itself?
I remember a lot of things from the game. I remember just thinking, I didn't realize probably at the age of 10 how big of a moment it was. I thought it was kind of weird. Like, hey, we've got these new teams in this conference. I've grown up, knowing every stat there is to know about the teams in the Big 8, and all of a sudden we're a new conference with more teams. It was very foreign back then. So it very much felt like a non-conference
What's with these
game.
teams from Texas?
Texas Tech? Is that Tech with a T? But I remember Hansford was just a stud. And I was like, okay, these guys are good. And Kansas State didn't really play that well. They had Brian Cavanaugh at quarterback, and Mario Smith, the safety, had a big fumble return for a touchdown that put K-State up 21-3. So the game was never really in danger, but I remember thinking, okay, Texas Tech's pretty good. And then I was there as a student the era that Texas Tech dominated Kansas State. Right before Patrick Mahomes, kind of that 07, 08, 09 era, which was the birth of the air raid and those Mike Leach teams. And it didn't matter if the game was in Manhattan, Lubbock, or Mars. They were crushing Kansas State.
Well, and, it's really interesting, too, to track kind of the trajectories of these two programs in terms of, K-State's still the same program they were in 1996 in many ways.
Yeah, yes.
Is Texas Tech?
No. They've elevated.
And they're not the air raid, score 50 but give up 50 team anymore, program anymore.
But, I mean, they do have air raid principles.
Sure.
And they still, have a lot of vertical passing.
Okay, so their offense is the same. Their defense is just much better.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
I think that more so than anything.
Yeah.
Texas Tech offenses have always been good.
Yeah.
Even when Matt Wells was there and Tommy Tuberville, they were still scoring points.
Well, how about that connection? I didn't even think about that, but the current Kansas State offensive coordinator is the former Texas Tech head coach.
Yeah. So there's a lot of parallels between the two programs.
If I remember correctly, too, I think Baron Morton was recruited by Matt Wells. I think Baron Morton predates Joey McGuire.
He would have been. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's aligning with the years that they were both there.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah.
And
out of Brownswood, Texas.
Farm kid, owns a bunch of land that he's leasing out. The kid is – that's what you do with NIL.
Yeah.
He's smart. But Avery Johnson, we played that clip because he's going to have to have another massive game for Kansas State. But the biggest thing that I've seen from him the last 4 weeks, he's not turning the ball over at all. He's got 9 touchdowns and 1 pick in the last 4. And remember, K-State's only loss was a last-second field goal from Baylor and a last-second field goal miss from Kansas State, where he still put them in scoring position. And he threw that pick 6 that really swung the game in the fourth quarter. And I thought this is where we will learn a lot about Avery Johnson as a quarterback and as a player and the mental toughness that you have to play that position. Because last year, Kansas State went on the road and lost a game on his birthday at Houston as a 2-touchdown favorite. And he threw a lot of interceptions in that game. He didn't play well. And that really kind of snowballed K-State's season. The rest of the way, they lost, 4 out of 5 carrying over into this season. But Avery Johnson, since the pick 6 against Baylor, has been at his best. And to have that resolve and that mental toughness, which are things that we had not seen from him as a quarterback, I think is huge and says a lot about him and his growth and K-State's chances, frankly, in this football game.
Yeah, and I agree, but I think this just comes down to turnovers. Mm-hmm. I mean, the first 3 games of the season, K-State was -1 in the turnover differential. Since they've been in conference play, against Arizona +1, against UCF +2, against Baylor +1, and then the last 2 weeks +3 against TCU, +3 against Kansas. So I mean, you're basically +10 in conference play, +9 in the season. I mean, they have been coming in bunches. So if you're Joey McGuire and you're Texas Tech, that more than anything, that's what you have to be conscientious of. K-State will not win this game if they end up even or below the turnover differential in this game.
Totally. And just to magnify your point, K-State is 5th in the country in that turnover margin, +9. In the last 3 games, K-State is 2nd in the country in turnover margin.
+7.
And if Avery Johnson doesn't throw that interception at Baylor late in the game, they lead the country in turnover margin. So it's been a huge swing for K-State, and here's Coach Chris Kleiman on his team moving forward and focusing on Tech.
That was a great win, but we have to move forward, and we got to play. We can play better. I know we can play better. We did some really good things, but we have to play better. I think having this as a home game is going to help. I think we're going to have a pretty electric crowd, and I think it's going to be, a crazy environment. Now we've got to match that with really good preparation, really good physicality, and be focused because this team has run a lot of people out of there in the first half.
They have the largest scoring margin in the country in the first half of football games. That's Texas Tech. That was K-State coach Chris Kleiman. We'll continue this conversation after the break. This is Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio. He's Ari, I'm James. You're watching us on Big 12 Studios. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league.